the most important vote in the history, I would suggest, of my time of following politics. She managed to have a migraine and not be there to vote that we should leave the European Union. Corbyn had a 3-line whip on it. Everyone else was told you either show up and vote or you decide to leave your job. Diane Abbott managed to get away, it seems, with saying she had a migraine. Now, I would say, unless you're in intensive care, that's probably sick. A bit like a freelancer. You're only not showing up if you're in intensive care. That is the only reason you missed that vote on Brexit. I would say to vote with your constituency is cowardice, because that is just protecting your job. You care more about the job than you do about democracy. That's cowardice. But the biggest cowardice of all, far worse than to vote against the will of the people, is not to vote at all. Diane Abbott, you are truly morally repellent. How you think you can stay in your role is beyond me. How you think you are going to be on a sofa anytime soon lecturing us about democracy, I really don't know. Maybe it was the vote that made you feel ill. I can tell you from myself, your face on my TV has a very similar effect. Go home, stay home, get out of the Houses of Parliament, stop snivelling around Corbyn, and go and find something you can stand up for that you do actually believe in, other than your own self-interest.
Can I just say before we start, I did get some tweets, the fact that you were on, I got some tweets. The best one was someone said, you need to change the way you approach things, right, and have a better manner about yourself.
Right.
What would you say to that?
I'd say fuck right off.
Katie, you are extremely rude. We're the alternative in the mainstream society. You're totally prejudiced towards tattooed people.
Why? What? Because I'm a plain skin?
No, that's what happens to us. People instantly make the judgment.
That's because your face is coloured, the sort of colour of a first-class stamp, my chicken.
The reason why...
How on earth are you going to get yourself back to normal?
I don't see it as being back to normal.
But
this is myself, and I express myself.
I can see the camera through your left ear. I can see it through your left ear.
Yeah.
Do you not? And if I looked from that side of your head through that side, I reckon I could see all the way through. If the only thing you can do to stand out in life is colour your whole face in, that just makes you a kid with a crayon book.
If one of your children...
He's an artist.
Now, I am the extreme side of tattoo and body modification, because that's my passion and that's my life.
Do you know what my passion is? My passion is...
eating. One of the things that's closest to my heart is a fat tax for fat flyers. I have to pay for my 20 kilograms of luggage on cheap, crappy flight and airlines, yes. When some fat chubster just up the aisle from me doesn't have to pay anything to get on board that plane, when quite clearly they are carrying more cumulative luggage. I think when you check in, you should weigh in.
What do you think about people that are carrying a bit of timber?
Yeah, well, I think they're lazy and they need to eat less and move more and stop being lard asses.
But you're doing a documentary, aren't you, about putting weight on?
Yeah, so I put on 4 stone to prove that skinny people aren't lucky to be skinny. They just move around a lot, and that fat people are, in fact, lazy. Last time we spoke, we had a deal. I was losing my 3 stone that I put on to prove fat people are lazy.
Do you seriously think it's okay to turn around and comment on my weight? And that's okay?
I do. I think you've really let yourself down. How much weight have you put on since we spoke, Stephen Dolly?
5 stone.
5 stone? What are you doing to yourself? And why have you eaten? What have you eaten? Have you been eating the audience? Are we missing some people that we used to have? Are there some cameramen that are no longer here? Are there some sound guys? You knew. Did he eat the last one?
I think this is just pure hatred, and there is no room for hatred in this society, I don't think, anymore.
Ultimately, I have no hate. I have no hate. I have no hate.
No, you do. You clearly do.
Listen, Dolly, I look for the best in everyone. It's just that I so seldom find it.
And you're looking in the wrong places.
I'm looking at you right now.
Andrea, you're welcome.
Hi, Ryan. Hi, how are you?
You're not hard to spot.
Thanks, Katie. Well,
do you know, sorry, that's just mean.
Yeah.
Like, that's
but
not
you know
even
what, Katie?
funny.
I'm ruthless.
No,
I'm honest.
But what about people's different metabolisms?
Exactly.
People have excuses all over the place, like, I've got big bones.
Yeah.
And they haven't.
Yeah, but people have different metabolisms, that's what I'm saying.
Well, if your metabolism is really slow, then maybe you need to shove less in this end so that you don't get fat.
Forget about the medical side.
I'm not interested in their stories.
are.
No, I haven't got time. I haven't got time for your stories. I'm going to look at you, make a quick assessment.
Because you don't want to hear you don't even want to hear my argument.
No, I don't. I'm just
shut
raging.
you down.
You're a raging, angry, fat person in a pink jacket.
Absolutely, yes, I can take you down in a fight anytime.
You're going to fight me?
I can take you down.
Okay, let's do it. But hang on, guys. I don't agree with what you say, so I am going to fight you.
Do you not realise where you're going with this?
How did you get this big?
This is actually to do with a hate crime.
And you're perpetuating hate crime.
Absolutely.
And
can we call the police? Would you like to bring the police in?
There's a telephone right there.
I think we should do it right now.
Go for it. There's a phone.
Great.
It's probably
have my phone and we'll call the police.
Would you like it brought to you? Because it's probably going to be hard to walk there.
Isn't this rule, the fat tax, is because it's costing the airlines
Darling,
more?
it is. It's perfectly practical. It's perfect business sense, which is why you can understand, darling.
And that's just greed.
Okay. Well, I think you're a perfect example of greed, Sweet Pea, because you weigh 25 stone.
Yeah. It became personally offensive, and I believe it is a hate crime, and I'd like to report it.
Katie, you've been a victim of online abuse as well. Do you think we need tougher laws?
No, and I absolutely, I push back on this term victim. I don't see myself as a victim at all. Look, Twitter's there for people that want to use it. If you don't like it, get off Twitter. It is only vanity that makes people read the damn thing until their eyes fall out of their head. And Sonia and others going running to the police, I have simply no time for it whatsoever.
I think women actually don't want equal treatment. They couldn't handle it if they got it, quite a number of them. It's a tough world out there. What a lot of women are actually asking for, and you can look aghast at this, is special treatment. If you look at all female shortlists for positions, is that equal treatment or is that special treatment? I think what women need to realise is that you have to toughen up. We can't ask for equal pay. You have to be paid on performance, and you have to be paid for the results you deliver.
When people tweet you and say, I know where you live and I'm going to come and murder you, that's a big difference to somebody saying, Katie, Hopkins, you're a pain, we don't like you, you've got a big nose, or whatever they say to you. There's a big difference
Sonia?
between that.
Sonia,
yes?
Let me read you one of the tweets I had this morning.
Go on.
1 second. I'm going to read you something I had this morning. I'm going to come to your house, tie you down, and murder your children while you're watching. Now, I had that this morning, Sonia, so do not dismiss the tweets I get and assume you know better. You don't know better, but I am man enough to deal with this stuff, and I enjoy the fact Twitter
is there.
Yes, it's blunt, but if you want polite, don't dress in a dress and go to a tea party.
Katie.
Any other defenders of Katie's point of view before we move on?
Anybody with a sense of humour? Anybody? Anybody?
Sonia, I'm not worried about the trolls. I'm more worried about the knackered old goats going over the bridge that can't handle it. Frankly, if you don't like the forum, get off it. Our police have better things to be doing, and I'm sure our taxpayers don't want to be going out there spending their hard-earned money on police coming around to deal with problems for small women like you.
You know, for me, asking the British taxpayer, hold on, I'll just answer your question, shall I?
Yeah, but someone in the audience is also...
If you ask me a question, then it's probably useful if I answer it, or you can just chat.
Me. I'm asking you.
Then I'll answer your question. If you ask me a question, I'll answer it for you. If you give me the space to do that.
But you stand by it.
I do. As I just said, yes. And I was going to explain, but you wouldn't let me.
Our next guest insists that Trump will win. DailyMail.com columnist Katie Hopkins joins me now. You think he's going to win?
I think he's going to win. I think you guys are in for a big surprise, which I'm quite excited about. I think we've seen a very similar thing here in the UK with Brexit. We saw a lot of the liberal press kind of sneering at Brexiteers. We saw a lot of the sneering that we see from the Clinton News Network, and I think it's something...
That's CNN. You're calling us the Clinton News Network.
That's exactly correct.
This is the man who talked about grabbing women by the pussy. Is there any part of you that feels, this is not my guy, I don't want this guy to be talking like this about any woman at all? Do you not despair for the future in any ways?
Sweetie, I would rather be grabbed by the pussy than have a pussy for president.
70% of individuals find Clinton to be utterly distasteful. I find her abhorrent to look at. Her little smile there does nothing for me. So
but
as
Katie Hopkins, nobody's saying everybody loves Hillary Clinton.
Well, I think you just did. Women, you said
not.
Women love Hillary. Women do not love Hillary Clinton.
I never said that. You're literally misquoting me.
Tell me your quote.
I gave you a poll where she had a 12-point advantage over Donald Trump with the female.
They really are meaningless. Move on from polls. I'm bored of your polls.
Okay, but you just quoted something I said that was completely factually incorrect.
Tell me the correct quote.
That women love Hillary Clinton?
Oh, wrong word there. Clinton.
When did I say
You
that?
love Clinton, remember, not Trump.
This conversation is actually going completely off the rails.
I'm not offended by the expression.
Katie, he's no longer in the locker room. He's in the Oval Office.
Sure, and that was a private conversation 8 years ago before he was running. Whilst Clinton was in the Oval Office, of course, Monica Lewinsky was on her knees with Hillary stood right by her. So I don't know if you're going to say that's any better, sweetie, because I don't think it is.
She's not president. I'm talking about the current president-elect.